It's Ed, and welcome to another edition of Ed Talks. And on my favorite topic of leadership, I have one of the best leaders that I personally know, Brant Beard. Brant, welcome to Ed Talks.
Hey, Ed, I can't thank you enough for having me.
No, this is great because I'm a big follower, admirer. Like you do this newsletter, I'm just jumping right in called Elevate. And
Yeah.
I think I've hit every episode or drop that you've had of Elevate. Tell us about the newsletter.
Yeah. So it's funny. I'm not a writer. And so recently I tried to play with some different skill sets and I thought, I'm going to connect with people's emotions and see where it takes me. And it's funny, you write these letters and it's about you, right? It's something that you're learning, but you write it so everybody else can learn it. And the ones that you're most honest about and kind of open connects with people. And so I've just started playing with just my writing ability and see where it goes.
Yeah. What's your favorite so far? And I'll tell you which one's mine. And then I'm also interested in which one resonated the most so far with your audience.
Yeah. The one that I think that really kind of started it, I wrote one about my son and just the different skill sets you have and the different skills that you can bring out to the world is different for every one of us. And sometimes we don't want to celebrate those. And when you celebrate what you're really good at, people really connect. And watching my son play music was just something I can't do. I've tried to play music my whole life and I just can't play guitar. I can't sing. I can't do anything. And to see his skill set and what he does and the passion he has with it, and it lights up the room with the people watching, it just, that was what I wanted to write about. And I really connected with that one.
Yeah. Well, it must run in your family somewhere, right? Maybe it's through your wife because I saw your daughter just had her very first performance ever. So there's some music genes in the Beard family.
Yeah. She's my daughter was on stage for the first time, and there's a group called Katinas, and she was on stage playing music, first time ever on stage, and I was just amazed. I was expecting a lot, but not what she did. So there's a skill set, but it's not through me.
Yeah, that's funny. So, which of the new editions of the newsletter do you think resonated the most with the audience?
I think there's a different ones. There's one that I wrote about where you've got to watch what's going on, and I actually ran into my garage, and I think people want to connect with real things that happen to you, and you've got to pay attention to the world around you and not do things in a box. And so I think that resonated. I think the ones that resonate, like get off your pedestal. Sometimes we think too highly of ourselves,
Yeah.
and when you get knocked down, you get back to reality.
Yeah. Guilty as charged. So, I like the one about running. So, you're a runner as well. So, tell us, you were a collegiate runner, right?
Yeah, so I ran at the Western Kentucky University. I was a cross country runner and a steeplechaser in track, and I've always had a passion for running. But it was like not the scholarship I was expecting. I thought it was gonna be baseball or soccer, and the one I got for college was running. And so I've been passionate all my life about running. And it's funny as you get older, when I go sightseeing in cities, it's running. It really connects me to who I am. I'm usually by myself and just sightseeing what's going on.
Yeah. I love that. Well, what was your fastest? What's the typical cross country distance in college? Like a 5K? And if so, what's your
Uh,
fastest 5K?
I was gonna say, I think it's a 7K that you run at the championship things. I don't even remember my times, to be honest with you. My times are not where they were before. I think I was at like a 9:03 steepler, and that's probably the most proud I've been. That's the one I talk about all the time with people. But uh, the rest of the races, I don't even remember my times anymore.
I bet you do, but you just don't want to make us feel bad by how slow we are.
Well,
Steeplechase.
and I'm
I,
just trying to catch
I am
you because you fly.
the steeplechase. I have to admit, I could not explain it. So you're running around the oval and you're jumping over water. I mean, is that the deal?
Yeah, there's four barriers that are aren't with water, and then there's one water barrier. And so your strategy in the water barrier is get as far as you can out, because otherwise you're like waist deep in water and you stop. And so your job is to not get tired for those 8 laps you have.
So, okay. So I really don't know. I knew the water. What are the other three obstacles?
They're just steeples. So if you think about when you go to a horse race, there's steeples out there that the horses
Yeah.
jump over. They're just movable barriers. The water barrier does not move.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. That'd be fun. I would love to try it someday. You're also a professor. So like, what do you,
Yeah, somehow I got into this hobby of teaching at the university level. And so I teach pharmacists in the Masters of Healthcare Informatics program, and one of the programs I'm at. And I teach undergrad, last class you take before you graduate, on business. So you've had all this theory about how to create an organization. This is how you create an organization. And I tell you, I connect with the students. It's to me, I love to coach. If I could be anything, I'd be a coach. And to be with the students is like your way of coaching that next generation. And they are brilliant, and they're going to go so far in life.
Yeah, no, that's cool that you can give back like that. Because that's when I think about Brant Beard, I think about, well, a great human, and then secondly, leadership. You know, you've got all this leadership skills. I'm glad you're sharing a lot of your philosophies and a lot of things that you learned through the Elevate newsletter. And of course, you've been doing that in your career wherever you've served. You've been raising up the next gen of leaders and such. What's one thing, like, if you could share with everyone in terms of, let's just say you go back to your university and you're doing the, what's it called when you come back and you do the, everyone's graduating, you're giving the graduation speech,
Yeah.
commencement address. That's what it is.
Yeah.
What's your message? What's the one leadership thing that you would leave with the kids or students?
The one thing I would leave, and honestly, I'm gonna steal it. Steve Jobs was one of probably the best commencement speech you ever heard when he went to Stanford, and it's stay hungry, stay foolish. Sometimes in life we
Yeah.
try to take the comfortable route, and it's an option, right? But what Steve was saying is you have to constantly push it. Where people are saying, "Are you foolish? Like, why would you do this?" So stay hungry in all you do, because the greatest innovations and the greatest transformations do not happen when you're comfortable. And so, to me, that was probably the biggest impact I've heard of from commencement. And that's what I'd wrap it around.
Yeah, that's well said. And I really appreciate you, Brant, again, for sharing of yourself, whether it's university, which I don't get to take advantage of, but I do get to take advantage of it through your newsletter. So thank you that all you do in helping really lift old tides. Or how do you say it? Lifting old boats with the tide of leadership. Thank you for being a guest on Ed Talks.
Ed, you're amazing. Thanks for having me.